Hello guys, Dr. Traeger here again. So we just finished up with our 6-month checkup, and the purpose of this video is to go over a couple topics that I wanted to elaborate a little bit on more. And then also, it's kind of nice, you can show this video to other folks that were not able to make it to the appointment with you to kind of go over some of the things that we talked about as well. Okay, so first things first, congratulations, you've made it to 6 months. Now, I tell folks this, and I'm joking, but I'm kind of serious about this too, that 6 months is my favorite baby age. This is the age where, as a parent, you really, really like being a parent of a 6-month-old. So the kinds of things that they're doing are all exciting and all new, and you kind of feel like you've got track together now. Now, as a doctor, man, 6 months is cool because 6-month-old babies love everybody. I mean, they really do have a good time. They'll usually come to me, they'll smile at you, they laugh at you, and they like you. Now, warning, 9-month-olds start to get a little more stranger anxiety and separation anxiety. So after this visit, I know that probably about a year or two, they're not going to be very interested in coming to the doctor. And that's okay. That's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there again. It's a lot more fun. When they're 3, they're going to love it. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. So at 6 months, the baby should be eating, pretty good. You've been doing some solid foods for a while now, and you should be doing a wide variety of foods. Now, remember, the rules are still the same. Don't choke the baby. That's always bad. Number 2, nothing unpasteurized, so you don't need honey and stuff like that. And the last thing about giving weird foods or avoiding weird foods at 6 months is a little bit less weird. Okay, so for example, at this age, I would love for you to try yogurt. Go for it, okay? You should be having a little bit of deli meat. You should be having things like scrambled eggs and things like that. Those are all okay. And if it makes sense for your family, yeah, peanut butter, that's great. A little bit of peanut butter on a little toast or cracker or something like that, or even just a cracker that has peanut butter in it. All of those things are all perfectly fine to do. So experiment with it, because now your diet should be getting more like a kid kind of a diet. Now remember, formula, breast milk, those things are still what grow the baby's brain and make us smart and stuff like that. But really just kind of experiment with it and just see how it goes. Most breastfed babies, again, feeding about 7-12 minutes on each side every couple hours, kind of just doing what they need to do. Formula fed babies, usually 4 to 6 ounces, breakfast, lunch, dinner, before bed, 6 times a day, kind of experiment with it. They wake up in the morning, they have bottle, take a nap again, then have breakfast, then have lunch, then have dinner, and then, that's it. And the cool thing about 6 months is you just kind of feed the baby, see how it goes. And if your baby is kind of a spitty baby, try doing the solid foods after they take the bottle or the breast. If they're kind of a not spitty baby, then let them, just do whatever you want to do. That's okay. You can experiment with it. But the spitting up normally at 6 months is getting a lot better too. Going to the bathroom at 6 months, man, that's a lot of fun, okay? Because now that you've been doing solid foods, so weird foods equal weird poop, okay? So if the stools are starting to get a little firm, things like juicy stuff. So juicy things like fruits, peaches, pears, things like that normally move things along a little bit more. More fibrous things like apples, bananas, things like that are normally a little more constipating. So you can kind of just back off one thing or advance it a little bit. Don't be surprised if they eat something and the next diaper, that green bean, is hanging out down there. So it's gross, and that's just the way it goes, which is just fine. So at 6 months, now I hinted at this at 4 months, and at 6 months, we should be sleeping all night long. It should be the best thing ever, okay? These kids normally go to bed, around 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then we'll sleep until 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. If the baby is not sleeping all night long, okay, you can do a couple different things. Number 1, there is no reason to feed in the middle of the night at this age. So if you want to, you can go ahead and change the baby and put the baby right down. So baby's crying, let him cry for a couple minutes, be like, yeah, we're still crying. Go in there about 3 or 4 minutes later, change him, put him right back down, and see what happens. You may be surprised, okay? Within a couple days, they'll usually stop waking up at night. Now, if you want to feed, and we have moms that say this, they say, I am totally fine with breastfeeding at night. I am totally fine. I like to sleep. We like to sleep, so we push it. But they're okay with that, and if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But don't be a martyr, okay? It's okay to let them cry, okay? We have to work on this. And what's nice is that there's really good research that has been around for a very long time that has showed that babies that are sleep trained or Ferberized or whatever you want to call it, they do not have weird psychological issues because they were sleep trained. Now, I will tell you that you being chronically sleep deprived, you not enjoying your child, yeah, those are not great. Okay, so try and get them to sleep, let them cry. It's okay, all right. And how long is okay? How long is too long to sit in there and cry? We would do an hour. Okay, so baby's crying, let them cry for a couple minutes, go in there, change, put them right back down, and say goodnight. okay? An hour later, we're still crying, then we'll go in and repeat the process. Change, put them right down. Because what we're doing is we're showing you that if you need something, we're there to address your need. And if not, you're not gonna be fed and you're not gonna be entertained. An hour is fine. Some people do 20 minutes. Dads usually go shorter than that. That's okay, you know. But really, it's one of those things. It has to. You know, true story. They really should be sleeping all night long by the time they go to college. That's an important milestone. But you might as well start now. What's wrong with that, right? So sleeping in their own crib. If they decide to sleep on their stomach and roll over and stuff, that's okay. That's kind of up to them. But when you put them down, try going to bed a little bit drowsy, not like completely asleep, but a little bit drowsy, and you'll find that seems to help out quite a bit. There's nothing wrong with that at all. All right, now 6-month-olds are a lot bigger than newborns. And that little bucket car seat thing that you guys have been carrying the baby around in for a while, if you want to keep using that, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of folks at this age do want to switch to a normal rear-facing car seat. So you just get one that's for your baby's weight and height, and you do rear-facing, and you just leave it in there. And when the baby comes out, you unbuckle and you go out. It's really nice, especially in the summertime, to be able to do that. But if the baby's asleep in the car seat, you might wake them up. So the bucket, some people like that. But we don't want the baby sleeping in the bucket anyway. So just kind of experiment with it. But the rear-facing car seat at this age, totally fine. And at the time of this recording, we are saying rear-facing until 2+. Okay, so we'll get to that when we talk about the 2-year visit and stuff like that. So at 6 months, and we kind of hinted at this a lot already, is that 6 months is supposed to be a lot of fun. Your baby's supposed to enjoy being played with and kind of sung with. A lot of them at this age are happy and laughing and things like that, which is really, really cool. So what's nice about the laughing is most parents, like dads, okay, this is the age we figure out, man, I am really funny because the kid laughs at everything. And hopefully you're experiencing that too. But they should also be kind of patting at things and kind of smiling at their own reflection. So if you want to grab a mirror and put them in front, you know, you'll see the kid just looking right at them. It's like, wow, look at the pretty baby in there. And they love it. They think it's just like a parrot almost. They think it's really, really great. And then if you call their name, they should kind of look at you, which is really cool, making some God noises, ma, ba noises, things like that. But they really don't mean much at this point. We should be rolling, okay? We should be sitting pretty good, and sometimes a little bit of tripod where they put their hands in front and then open their legs up a little bit like this. That's pretty normal at this age too. But when it's feeding time, they should take those 4 fingers and they should start to kind of rake for things and be able to pull it up and then pull it up to their mouths and things like that. And they'll start to bang on things. And so 6 months, lots more to do than even at 4 months. And you should be noticing that as things progress, you should be getting a lot better with things, which is great. So 6 months is really cool because at 6 months, you got your 6-month vaccines. And if it is that time of year, so your 6-month vaccines are the same at 2, 4, and 6 months. So you finished the first booster series of the vaccines, which is great. Now, if it is the right season, okay, then we'll offer you guys the flu shot. Now, I know that there are a lot of folks that feel weird about the flu shot, and that's okay if you do, but we think the flu shot's great. Okay, the flu shot is safe, very effective. My kids get it. Most of your kids are going to get it and stuff, which is really, really cool. And the reason why we want to protect babies starting at 6 months of age with the flu vaccine is that people that are baby's age are the ones that get the sickest with the flu. So the recommendation is all children should be getting it every year. And this is great. We think it's great. We think it's great. So if you have questions, let me know. Okay, we really, really want to address your concerns when it comes to the vaccines. But the neatest thing, okay, besides all the things that we've talked about, from a medical point of view, at 6 months of age, okay, these babies have had their primary series of their vaccines. So they're protected against the scary stuff, whooping cough, bloodstream infections, things like that, which is really good. Now remember, when we were at 4 months and less, we talked about, hey, look, if your baby has a fever, is concerned about something, you know, we want to hear about it pretty quickly. But now that we're 6 months old, you don't have to worry about fever as much, okay, which is nice, okay. So think of it this way, all right? When we worry about fevers, I know when you look at the thermometer and when you see that number really worries folks, okay? They see a 104, they see a 102, and they say that 104 must be worse. You know, to us, what we care about is how the baby is acting. So there are lots of folks that the baby has a fever and it's 103, 104, and they're running around like crazy and having a good time. That kid's okay. That's the guy's doing okay. Then there's other kids, they have a 99 or a 100 and they're laying there and they're having a hard time breathing and things like that. Those are the kids that we're really worried about, how we're acting. So when you have a temperature, what's happening is your body is fighting something off, a virus, a bacteria, something like that. And most of the time in kids, it's pretty clear what it is. Baby's had a runny nose, snotty, congested, and we have a fever. Okay, it's probably a bad virus. So what we tell folks based on your comfort level, okay, this is your individual comfort level, is if the baby is breathing okay, mostly acting okay, then it's okay to wait now that you're 6 months old, okay? So what that means is baby snotty, little temperature, a little fussy, go ahead, give some Tylenol. Now that we're 6 months, you could even give ibuprofen as well and see how it goes. And if the baby's doing good, okay, then we can wait. Most of the time when it comes to fevers, the fever's there for a day or two, but the fever will be there until the virus or whatever's causing it mostly goes away. The one point that we'd say that we're concerned about is if you're having a temperature, meaning a fever over 101 for greater than 3 days, we want to see that kid. Or if you're concerned, if the temperature is 101 and the kid's upset and fussy and it doesn't seem right, then come in. It could be an ear infection. It could be all these different things. But if you're ever concerned about the way the baby's breathing or acting, those are things that we want to see right away. Okay, so if you have questions, call us. You're not going to be the parent that is harassing us. Okay, we don't care. We're more concerned about how you guys feel and how the baby's doing than being bothered or something like that. So reach out to us. All right, the other thing is that you're going to hear people talk about, is there a number? Is there a 104 or 107 or something like that that's a magic number that you have to go to the ER or something like that? You know, again, no, we don't think so. Okay, now that we've had the first 6 month vaccines, baby has 103, 104, it's going to make you feel worse when you have a temperature that high, but it's not necessarily something that once you hit 105, you have to go to the ER. If you have a 105, those babies usually feel pretty sick. And especially at 6 months, you may say, hey, I need to go in. And that's okay. But a 14-year-old with a 104, 105, they're going to tell you, man, I don't feel good. But they're still going to be otherwise acting okay. And you can you have to feel out. Every parent is different with these things. But there's no number that we would tell you is a magic you have to go. I've never seen a 107. So I would go in with that. That would be, yeah, let's go in with that. But it's really how the baby is acting or how the child is acting at this point. You're also going to hear people talk about with fever control. You cannot control a fever, okay? Whatever's causing the fever is causing the fever. Until that virus or that process that's going on goes away, it's just going to take some time for that to happen. So what you can do to help is make them feel better. Fine, a cool bath, that's great. A rag, things like that. Some Tylenol or some ibuprofen, that's okay. You know, what we do in our family is hey, baby's feeling warm, you know, it's got a temp over 101 or 99, but you're still feeling warm and they're fussy, fine. Here's some Tylenol. Here's some ibuprofen. And if you're still feeling that way or still having a fever 3 hours later, then give the opposite. Go ahead, give Tylenol, give ibuprofen, whatever it was that you just gave. And that's what we talk about when we talk about alternating Tylenol, ibuprofen. But you don't have to check the number and say, nope, you're 100.9, you can't have Tylenol. Dude, if you're warm, the baby's fussy, just go ahead and do it, okay? It really is okay. What we care about when we ask, say, hey, did the baby have a temperature? You say, yeah, baby's been warm. Okay, we'll take that, okay? And it does a 101.9 versus a 102 in the grand scheme of things doesn't really change much for us, which is great. So if you have questions about fevers, let us know, okay? But we want to take the fear out of having a fever, okay? We really do, we want you just to kind of take it easy. Now, extra credit stuff here, you know, talk to your parents, talk to the baby's grandparents and about what it was like in the 1990s and the 1980s before we had the vaccines that we have now. The reason why we can say what we're saying when it comes about fever without fear is because we don't have to worry about certain types of meningitis and bloodstream infections, which were really common in the 1980s. It was very common for a baby in the 1980s to have a fever of 102 or 103 and then have meningitis the next day. So now that we're protecting against those things, we don't have to worry about that as much, but we still care how the baby's acting. So if something's not acting right, we want to see you. Okay, so 6 months, there's a ton of things to talk about. Hopefully we hit most of those things in the office, and if we didn't, we got them on the video here. But you're entering the really fun stretch of parenting, which is a lot of fun. So speech development, those things are coming over the next 3 months. So over the next 3 months, what you want to work on, advancing the feeds, have a good time with it. And then the second thing is just experiences, okay? Play with your kids. This is the age you're going to remember, which is really, really good. And then now that we're 6 months, I mean, baby's sleeping really good. How easy is it to find a babysitter that you can put the kid to bed at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and then you guys can get out for an evening away? I mean, that's really cool. So, or baby's taking a nap for 2 or 3 hours, find a sitter to come hang out in the house, you know, for a couple hours so you guys get out and do something. Pour into your marriage. That's an important thing to be working on at this point as well. Okay, well, we'll see you guys in 3 months. Keep up the good work.